And joining me now is Micah Halpern, Middle East analyst. It's great to see you as always, Micah. Thanks for being here. All right, so let's talk about some of the comments from Greenblatt and as well as Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, today. Both want UNRWA disbanded here. Greenblatt says that UNRWA has failed the Palestinian people, while Danon says that UNRWA has succeeded only in inciting violence. Your response to that, and what has UNRWA done over the years?
Well, that's a good question. In the larger picture, the United States has probably given about $6 billion to UNRWA over the years. That's a lot of money. They discontinued the $350 million annual contribution. So UNRWA's purpose when it was created was to deal with refugees created as a result of Israel's creation. But the definition of the refugee by UNRWA standards is not the standard internationally or even by the United Nations. A refugee is someone who was forced to leave their country, not their generations that succeeded. So you can't have a refugee which is 3, 4, 5 generations late, and that's exactly what you're having now in the definition of UNRWA. So that's when Greenblatt is talking about ever-expanding clientele, he's speaking about refugees that are just continuing because their great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents were products of the left the area because Israel was created.
Has UNRWA, as Ambassador Danon says, incited violence?
Well, we have historical fact that that's the case. So there's no doubt about that. So UNRWA's overstepped its bounds in a lot of different ways. And I don't know if we should evaluate whether or not UNRWA is good or bad, but I can tell you at this point it really serves no role in terms of providing, because most of those people that were in refugee camps are not there anymore. There are no refugee camps in that area.
All right, let's move on and talk about this report that the Pentagon is putting together a proposal for the White House to send up to 10,000 more U.S. military forces and troops to the Middle East region in response to this escalation in tension with Iran. Is this meant to keep Iran off balance?
Yes. What happens is you have to look at the game as like a three-dimensional chessboard. So it's not a single monodimensional chessboard where one team moves and another team moves and it's all flat. It's rather multi-sides and multi-dimensions and multi-layers. So because Iran did X, the United States has to do Y. Now the United States is doing Y plus. And so what's going on is they just can't do nothing and they can't just speak. If they speak, then it's a war of rhetoric. It's not a war of rhetoric. There has to be pressure that's applied. So moving troops, as well as moving ships, as well as making certain that airplanes are appropriately placed, all those things are part of the game. Now, might it expand to action? Maybe.
All right. I'll have to leave it there. Micah Halpern, it's great to see you as always.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for coming in.